Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bevin, a femme over 40 and her friends podcast. I'm your host, Bevin. This is my co-host, Biscuit Reynolds. I'm pointing to a portrait of my cat, overlording, which is exactly what he is doing from the beyond. I am so thrilled to bring Colin back to the podcast. You know how 2020 was like kind of an off year for a lot of people because we had that global pandemic, shut everything down. Colin is one of my 2020 friends that I met from the internet because I was like, well, I'm going to still keep meeting people who are cool. And so I did. And it's much easier to do it in the digital age across time and space. And I'm so excited to have him back on the podcast. It's such a rich conversation. I'm not going to go deep in this intro. We're going to do it pretty fast. But I wanted to tell you that today is a Pisces full moon. It's also a lunar eclipse. So eclipse seasons are portals to if you want a timeline jump, if you want things to be different for you, an eclipse season is a great opportunity, right? And sometimes eclipses feel like a Mack truck driving over you, or perhaps like a roll, one of those like concrete rollers. I just imagine it like a pink, it's Pisces, a pink concrete roller rolling over you energetically. So this morning I woke up and I've been praying for my dreams to be fun because my dreams used to be violent nightmares before I did a lot of spiritual hygiene work, and I do a lot of spiritual hygiene work now. And I keep praying that my dreams could be fun, right? Like, because frequently I feel really stressed in my dreams, like I'm on a quest, I'm trying to do something. But this morning I woke up from a dream where I was in a loft space with a bunch of people who were putting on the musical Hair, and we had to decide what was the intro song going to be, and the group decided it was going to be Let the Sunshine In, and so they were singing that as a group just very spontaneously and beautifully as I woke up, and I was like, what a beautiful song to wake up to on such an auspicious day as this. And so two messages from that story I want you to take away. Number one, prayer works. You don't have to know how. Give up needing to know how. And then number two, let the sunshine in. You know what I mean? Like, it's always about our perspective. And that's where our point of power lands. And we talk a little bit about our power in this conversation with Colin. So I'm really excited for you to just join us on the virtual porch. And before we get started, I want to tell you the best way to support this podcast is through my Patreon page, Patreon, patreon.com/FKDP, which stands for Fat Kid Dance Party, which is my aerobics class for anyone who feels left behind by mainstream fitness. If you've ever been called too much, too fat, or felt too awkward to dance, mine is the supportive class for you. I really hope you'll join us. My Patreon page hosts my membership. So I do Zoom classes. I have on-demand classes. Those are all available there. But I also do some spiritual teachings. One of my free spiritual teachings is my spiritual hygiene meditation. Because really, if you take one spiritual practice out of anything I teach, please let it be hygiene. Because if you're energetically sensitive at all, you're picking up junk from everywhere you go and all the people around you. So it's just best, take your salt bath every week, like cleanse yourself. I just imagine like light coming up from the core of the earth, cleansing my physical body. And then I bring it up to cleanse my energetic body. And I do a little shield of rose quartz. And I set the intention that only God's love can come in, and everything else is reflected as divine bright light. I do some more little things too. I'm not going to give you all my secrets, but that is just a basic practice if you want to just take that and run with it. Patreon.com/FKDP. You can also give me a one-time gift. There's links in the show notes. This is totally listener supported, just like NPR. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for using your most precious resource, your time/attention on this. I hope you get a lot out. I'm going to set the intention. I know you're going to get a lot out of this conversation and have a good time while you're doing it. So please imagine you are on a beautiful porch overlooking a magnificent view. We're sitting in cozy furniture. You've got your favorite childhood blanket tucked around you. And please welcome Colin to the show. Colin, welcome back to my podcast.
Thank you. I just want to say right the fuck away, because I've been sitting on this for like months now.
Oh.
Was that you knew about Chaperone, if that's how we even pronounce her name?
Chaperone.
For years. Like, you knew about her back in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to give you that credit, because I remember you turned me on to Pink Pony Club, And then my phone started to know that I liked her, so it was sending me music by her. And I just want to say, Capricorn, you are once the fuck again, 4 years before everybody else.
Um, Thank you. There's nothing a
Okay.
Capricorn likes more than being told that she was right about something. And I appreciate that. And watching Chapel Run blow up in the year of our goddess 2024, uh, as a gay angel, like an outspoken lesbian with tons of boundaries and like spiteful words for the paparazzi. I'm so here for her. I love her. I appreciate her. And thank you. But also, like, my highest form of love is I think of you when I hear a song and I text you the song, right? So,
Oh, see, and I knew that was so substantial. Yeah. And that's why, like, I remembered that. And I knew there would come a time when we'd finally be able to dialogue in real time. And I could tell you, honey, you knew this bitch was about to explode like years prior. And I just want to say, way to go, Capricorn, for just being way ahead of the curve once again.
you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm
You're
also going to pass the
welcome.
credit ball to my friend McKay. Uh,
McKay.
McKay, who you've met because you did a reading for McKay, which has inspired, this is our asynchronous friendship. So it has inspired like a little bit of a hyper focus for me.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
because in your reading with McKay, because McKay is a 1989 millennial, as you are. Um, and there's this like 1989 to 1991 millennial microgeneration that I think is here to save the world. And
Oh,
this is all stuff that McKay pointed out to me from their chart, which is also in your chart.
yes.
And, so therefore, if you get an astrology reading from someone who shares your astrology, I think that's also extra special because they're like an expert of their own astrology, right?
It is pretty cool. I love seeing like spring 89. Yeah, it makes me really happy.
Yeah. It's like it
Uh,
makes me happy every time I meet someone and they're all now in the age range of 33 to 35.
yes.
And so let's talk a little bit about it. Would you be willing?
I'd be more than happy to. And again, this is why I scheduled this conversation today because I was like, you know what? I just feel like when I am talking to Bev, I am awake, I am connected. Nothing can be phoned in. I needed this energy in a lunar eclipse in Pisces. I needed to be anchored by a Capricorn queen. Yes, I would love to because I'm still even since I read McKay, like my ideas have changed and gotten deeper with that. So it's already that's so weird that you mentioned this because I'm really present to this concept. Yes, I would love to chat about it with you.
Because I feel really called to like empower this specific group of people. I want to empower everyone. That's always been my
Mhm.
work, right? Is to just help people learn to regard themselves with love and grace, which I think is incredibly empowering, right? If you can take away all the limiting beliefs and just be like, yo, I'm worthy of love and grace, even if I do fuck up. And I fuck up all the time. Like,
Right.
right? And okay,
Yeah.
so this millennial microgeneration, North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo.
Some Pisces. So they
Some
actually
Pisces,
have
yeah.
they have something connected to you because that's your nodal axis.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me a little bit because I think my thought is like, especially with North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo, it's like they come in with the like mastery of self. And so they're moving into, I think, a kind of mastery of community and but individuality within community. Because that's what I see Aquarius as.
Like from your lips to God's ears, baby. Okay. I'm sure people say that to you all the time, but like I really fucking mean it. So yeah, that's a beautiful yeah. So we'll start by explaining the Saturn Uranus Neptune conjunction in Pisces, then we'll move to the
Yeah.
nodes because that
Okay.
was the generational marker. And then make sure that I go back to your point about the Leo Aquarius autonomy, but like community affiliation, because that is absolutely that polarity integration story. So yeah, in I want to say it was 88, the start of 88 to the end of 90. So yeah, just in that 2 years, okay. The three outer planets were all in Capricorn. Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So it makes a lot of sense that you feel this sense of affiliation and gravitas with this very specific microgeneration. Because what's fascinating is I think it was the first time in maybe 600, 700 years. So we're talking multiple hundreds, right? The three outer planets were in the same sign, and they were in the same sign of Capricorn right before Pluto entered Capricorn and really showed everything that needs to change in a Capricorn level, right? So my generation theoretically has a very strong understanding of how systems in place will move the civilization forward to connection to humanitarian causes, right? So that's Saturn. And then the Uranus in Capricorn speaks on how we also know which systems are like adults wearing, toddler clothes that are just so outdated. It makes absolutely no sense. We laugh at it, right?
Mhm.
And then the Neptune in Capricorn speaks to a disciplined, I would say, attitude and practice around creativity, right? In very Julia Cameron artist way, but then also we could probably liken it to A Course in Miracles. I think there's something about Neptune and Capricorn where we want to have a grounding spiritual practice that gives us a template for righteous living. And so, yeah, if you have that generational marker, I've heard it called the cap stack. I think I told you about this, the cap stack, which always makes me laugh, like a stack of Capricorns. Okay. But yeah, there is this emphasis, and I'm even thinking, like, of course, so much could happen really now until our second Saturn return, because we're going to have a lot of Saturn aspects. So there's a lot going on. And we look to Capricorns, right? Capricorn suns, risings, moons for inspiration and demonstration, for that level of integrity, that level of commitment to a cause. Yeah, what does it mean to show up in service and care for the people we love? Because we are responsible for each other. Like, this is not a joke. So that's my long-winded answer. And then I will just say too, you could probably look at, I'm not just saying this because it's mine and MK's birth year, but you could look at probably 1989 for the big
Yeah.
for the big clues. So really quickly, I watched this documentary called 1989, The Year That Made Us, on Hulu. And it was fascinating, Bev, because it talked about the fall of the Berlin Wall, the rise of sensational journalism. So that's
Mhm.
really when we saw broadcast journalists take a highly subjective, opinion-based commentary. So the line between fact and fiction, right, it was really blurred. That's also in '89 was the establishment of the World Wide Web. So there's all these things that happened that year that will honestly echo back in 2026, because we're going to have a Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries. So there's that too. So there's just so much of so much, but yeah, that's our generational marker. Was that like the most long-winded answer you've ever had in the history of your podcast?
No, not even close. A
Thank
long
God.
form podcast. That was not even close to the longest answer. And I love it. I'm here for it. I like the Uranus and Capricorn, the way you talked about that. I'm like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something very powerful in millennial meme culture where making fun of the establishment is the emperor has no clothes. Like this year during tax time, people took the time to make memes about how much of your dollars are going to Raytheon versus going to house the homeless and universal health care. Like, right? Like breaking like all of the big weapons manufacturers, you can see how much our tax dollars are going. And that's just like one of many examples of the way that they've leveraged the internet, which was born in that year, right? In 1989. And
Yes.
I think that 1989 and 2024 are two very pivotal years. And we're not going to know how 2024 pivots, I think, until years later, right? Like we're, 30 something years out from
Yeah.
1989. But like
Yeah.
Little Mermaid
Yeah.
came out in 1989. Like there were like
Yes.
major cultural moments. I was 11. Like it was just such a like weird and amazing time. And like once I realized what the astrology was, because the astrology is affecting everyone while we're under it, but when you're born under it, like you come in to embody that. And how cool that like all these people with this like strong Capricorn, like, we didn't come here to fix a broken world. We came here to build the world of our dreams. And so like you
You
have
just summarized the stack. I'm sorry. I just had to be like, that's really it. Yeah, why the Titanic already crashed into the iceberg. What am I gonna do?
yes.
Get buckets and go to the fucking floor? And no, exactly. Build a
Yeah.
better one. Exactly. Yeah.
And so like if you have this like inherent ability to build and dream systems, right? Like with Neptune, and like comment on the broken ones, and then you get Pluto and Capricorn just showing you like, I mean, Pluto and Capricorn just showed us, showed their ass, and like I feel like even baby astrology people can probably feel the movement from Pluto out of Capricorn into Aquarius last year, and then back into Capricorn, and then into Aquarius, and now we're back into Pluto and Capricorn, and the vibes are different.
Well, and can you say more about that? Because I feel it, but I'm like trying to stay very objective about it in a way. But how do you feel the vibes being very different?
I felt it very strongly last year. This year, I think the Pluto, the election coming, it's like I almost want to blame it on the election, but elections fall every 4 years, and I don't think astrology is meant. I'm going to quote you to you. Astrology is meant to be experienced, not believed. Like,
So true. Which is such like a Gemini riddle, but like figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's like you don't have to believe it, but like people believe in credit scores, and I think astrology is a lot more effective.
Oh my God. Why do Capricorns always want to talk about credit scores? It makes me
I will tell you, just to everybody out there, you can live a very wonderful life with a mediocre credit score. So,
Okay. Well, because I think even that was invented in like 89. We should
yeah,
double check
all
the
sorts of
credit.
crazy shit was invented in 1989. Oh, the a book I want to recommend to you, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh yeah. That's a seminal one. I've never read it, which is
I had
crazy.
never read it before. I can't, it's another one of those like, oh, I can't believe I missed out on that one early in life. But here I am reading it now for the second time, just right through. And it was published in 1989. And he talked about in the afterword. It's on, if you have Spotify Premium, you get
Yes,
15
I do.
hours. You have 15 hours of audiobooks for free included every month. And so 7 Habits is on there. And I listen to 15 minutes a day. It's
And
like
how
life.
Capricorn is that? The fact that he wrote that during the Saturn Uranus Neptune conjunction in Capricorn. So fucking funny. I love it. I know, and that's the experience of astrology, right? Like I could walk you through the theory and the history and the blah blah blah, or we could just say that the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was authored during the 1989 Capricorn stack. So any questions? I didn't think so.
He says these are principles, and so therefore, if anything, they get more true with time. And he's like, I didn't write them. He's like, I like observed them and then brought them together into a writing, right? And so
Which I also love as like a Capricorn quality of like, I swear to God, I didn't generate this knowledge. It's pre-existing. There's there's that. I just want to say what's been really amazing about the last 3 days is like I've been around my Capricorn accountant. She lived in Arizona, so she came all the way to Tucson to have breakfast with me and drove me back, and we had such a good time. And being with you now too, like there's something actually very healing about being with the sun sign of your moon sign or maybe a part of your astrology that you feel needs the most regulation actually. And I just want to say, like, I think sometimes my Capricorn needs the most regulation, which of course, but being with other Capricorn women has just been so beautiful because it's like I don't actually have to regulate that much. I just watch you guys live your life and I'm like, I'm fine. They're the best.
it's the perfect approach to life from a mutable sign. It's just like, let me just absorb.
Yes, yes. Let me just absorb and observe
Uh-huh.
and just like be in awe of yeah, like the quality of Capricorn total responsibility and like I run a tight ship because I care so deeply about my life and my loved ones. I'm just like, damn, that's really what it is. Anyway, thank you for observing my Gemini tangents, but it's true. I just had to say that. If anybody's watching and they've ever like felt like, oh, how do I connect more with this part of my chart? Just be friends with the people born under that sign. I swear to God, that's all you need to do.
Does make a big difference.
Totally.
Also, like, I will say my ship never feels as tight as it could be.
Very
Like,
Capricorn.
very Capricorn and Virgo rising, because like I can just observe the world from this idea of like it could be perfect, but it's never gonna be. And so I just accept that, like, we can land in excellence when we aim for perfection, but I can't even aim
Oh,
for perfection.
beautiful, beautiful phrase. Land in excellence when we aim for perfection.
Yeah. But again, I'm also totally letting myself off the hook on that because I've had to really rearrange my life around um I think you'll love this. So, I realized that the first like 40 years of my life, I was letting my Saturn and Virgo run my ship, And I think it was like just the way I was socialized, you know what I mean? Like we're trained, not taught to like conform, right? And like I tried so hard to do all the things and to be safe, quote unquote. And like then what I realized when I learned about what a chart ruler is I'm like, oh, my chart ruler is actually my Mercury and Sagittarius. Like I'm here to be a clown, you know, like
Yes. Oh my God. I was waiting for somebody to bring centaur energy into the chat, and it was you.
here we are. Here we are. I'm a
There's
character.
nothing I love more than protesting reality with Sagittarians, and we're just going to protest the truth.
Ugh, I love it. I love Sagittarians. Like the way, just
So,
the okay, the snacks, first of all. I do love snacks. I feel like I incarnated on Earth for the snacks. Sagittarius feast vibes, into it. Um, but then like the jokes and like the fun and the party and the experience, right? And then like nothing has to last too long because Sag is like, gonna dip. It's the Irish goodbye.
right.
Yeah.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Let's
Yeah.
speed it up. And you know what? Because they're my polar opposite sign, right? I'm stunned by the quality of friendships I have with Sagittarian women. Like honestly, I don't want to say unmatched, but it is just kind of strange. Like if I look at my life, the women who have been the most loving, connected, supportive, loyal, have shown up for me all over the world anytime, any day, any night, Sagittarian women. I like what they've done to enrich my life with meaning and joy and honesty and challenging, like, is just, I could go. My lesbian husband is a Sag. I'd be lost without her, dead in a ditch somewhere.
What's your lesbian husband's name?
Lesbian husband, first
Uh-huh.
and last.
Oh, okay, great.
No, no, it's Christina Shinyi Mui. She is first
Oh,
generation Chinese American.
okay. I have seen her
So
on your Instagram. I was just like trying to put names and faces together. You know me.
yeah, you were like, I feel like I feel like I suspect I could see this bitch's face.
Yeah.
No, so she is my husband, and just like has really modeled a level of like friendship. This actually goes back to the actually, here we go. This is Leo Aquarius.
Hey.
What does it mean to stay connected even when you're differentiating, you're away, you moved, you disagree, you stand alone? Like she has never compromised her Aries moon autonomy.
Mhm.
And because she is so true to herself, that's what makes her, I think, one of the truest friends I've ever known. And so she's perfected the Leo Aquarius energy. I don't even think I've ever said that to her. I don't even know. I'll have to tell her that later. Yeah.
When's your anniversary? I'll send you a card.
Wait, you know what? It would probably be the first week of December. She proposed to me in front of a McDonald's in Astor Place on a Friday night at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know
She
that
got
McDonald's.
she got down on one, you know that one. She got down on one knee and proposed to me because she was like, "You're such a tall bobblehead. Will you marry me?" I think that's her exact words, something along those lines. Anyway, sorry.
The world is a tall bobblehead. Different worlds. People do talk about, like, here's the thing, like, coming up in fat liberation, I did not hear enough talk about what it was like as a tall person in a world that is not built for tall people either. We were just talking about you crunching your little legs against a wall on a plane.
Yes. And how horrible it was. No, that's a really interesting point. I'll have to think. Yeah, you know what? I'm very conscious of it when I'm sitting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always try to sit in the back so that I'm not like this trying to taking up too much space, whatever, whatever.
Yep.
But sometimes a girl's gotta sit in the front and you just gotta deal with it. What are you gonna do?
Assigned seats are the bane of the existence of someone who has a non-normative body.
Oh, okay. Wait, say more about that, Leo Aquarius.
Well, like if so like plane seats are like a terrible example of an experience, right? Like, because if you go and you're stuck on a row and like little, if you're fat and the little thingy dingies in the middle of the seats don't rise, like the jamming of a body into that, it's like bruises all up and down your thighs. Like it's really a horrible experience. And like you can sit on different seats on the same plane and it's a wildly different experience depending on just the whims of like manufacturers or if someone once cut that seat belt and made it
Yeah.
shorter. Like, and then like one of my best friends I met because we were both on a journey where we were on buses. And so I was always sitting in the back of the bus so I could have two seats and like just kind of stretch out a little bit and sideways. And he sat in the back of the bus in the middle back seat so that his 6'5" legs could be stretched out. So like a friendship was born out of like trying to like just get out of the way of people and like find some comfort. Yeah. There is
And
no uniformity with the human body. Human bodies are made different on purpose. And like it's the sacred thing, our differences. But then we have this weird society that just wants to put us all in little boxes and
oh
squish us.
yeah, because it's cheaper and it maximizes profit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so everybody, just the shareholders win, but we get fucked. I'm 6'3", so we would be in the back of a bus
Yeah.
going, can we just get the fuck? Can everybody get out of our way? Number fucking one, and
Mhm.
number two, how do I get out of everybody's way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I'm gonna sit with that. That's something. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Capricorn.
I think about it a lot. I think about it less than I used to, but I also don't fly as much as I once did. So, um,
And how do you feel about that? Relieved, or do you want to? Is your Mercury in Sag like get me back to a
uh,
flight?
here's what, Colin, like for years, right? Like years of not traveling due to pandemic reasons and financial reasons too, like just like
Oh yeah.
staying at home is way cheaper, right?
Oh
And
wow.
because a lot of times when I was making money so that I could escape the life that was making me money, right? So when you build
This
a life,
funny little dilemma I found myself in.
yeah, I made all that money as a lawyer and I spent it all at Sephora and Lush, like just to try to make myself feel better.
Feel something. How many fucking makeup brushes does it take?
Exactly. I don't know, but more than this. Uh,
I love it. I love it.
um, yeah. So, okay. So now this year I have started flying again for the first time since 2020.
Okay.
And it's interesting. I never realized how much integration time I need when
Mm.
I travel. And I look back at like my time in LA, which the thing about living in a big city when I lived in LA and New York City is like lots of opportunity, lots of things to do, right? Like, so there's always things to do. But like there isn't a lot of integration time, right? When there's always something to do, right? Like, because I could convince myself, oh, I can do this, this, and this in a week. And I'm like, I was here and then I flew home and then I did all these things and then I flew somewhere else the next weekend. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, there's no downtime here, Bevan. Like, so
No.
traveling again this year, I'm like, okay, I know my self care needs, so let me integrate like a solid week of not a lot on the schedule after a big trip when I'm coming home and like wanting to center and ground and be my best self. Because really, I just want to bring my best to everything and also not pile on too much. So I'm learning the lessons of how to embrace structure to support rest.
Structures to support rest. And you know what I'm thinking too is your Capricornian relationship to time and to yeah, like when you're flying, you're like time jumping, and then you need to integrate, like just again, like a level of regulation with timing and what you need to process the past, inhabit the present, and pay attention to the future.
Yes.
That's one, two, three. That feels very Capricorn. I would love to do that. I pitch
Would
up to
you?
as I'm coming at you post red eye. Okay. Thankfully, I'm a Gemini sun, not a Capricorn sun, so that level of responsibility isn't there for me quite yet.
It's also your chart ruler, your Gemini sun. Like you're kind of supposed to be
Um,
a fuck up in this lifetime, Colin.
uh, roast me, please roast me. I have a fetish for it. Especially Capricorn women. Thank you so much. Yes, no, I'm just here to be a fuck up. Like a what day is it? What time is it? I'm in the business of time, but I never know. Get into it. Have a great day.
Yeah. You know what clock I want? I want
What?
someone to invent a clock where I can see where all the planets are right now. That's what I want. I want it in my kitchen so I can wake up and be like, where's the moon? What's the moon doing? Like, you know what I mean? Just like really see it. Because it's the Pacific Northwest. A lot of times it's cloudy here. So even if
Ooh.
Jupiter's visible, not through these
Yeah.
clouds.
We would need like a digital clock for that. We would 100, and I don't know why that hasn't been invented. Oh, I think you have a multi-million-dollar idea.
Listen, someone else do it. I don't want to sit in those meetings. I just want to have it.
I will invest a little bit. I want all the profits.
It's not even Shark Tank. I don't even believe in that. I think I have my one, like, my aerobics class is my quote unquote $1 billion idea, only if someone ever buys it from me, which they cannot. So it's not really worth that, right? Like, it's just an idea.
Mhm.
But I will invest. It's so funny when I first had the idea and I had, fancy business people telling me, oh, this is $1 billion idea. And I'm like, thank you. I don't know how to make it a thing, but I'm just staying steady and being great. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like want it. I used to want to have a big company and do a lot of things and have an app. And now I do not want any of that. I just want simplicity. I want it to exist to facilitate me teaching
Totally.
aerobics 3 times a week. And,
Totally.
I was going to work out anyway. And
Yeah.
then and
I'm
then
just
just
like,
funnel money into creating ease for other people. You know what I mean? And so like if somebody wants this astrology clock idea, please, I'll funnel money towards you when I have it. And
and I feel like, yeah, I could tell any one of the software developers of the astrology apps, right? So there's this one called Time Passages, which I use, that they should make like a circle clock and then just, yeah, like have it note, where everything is. So we're just looking at a chart all day. Yeah, that
exactly.
was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Capricorn. The wisdom, unmatched.
Okay. Another reason why I think that your microgeneration is here to heal the world is this. So in 1989, on July 31st, 1989, we had an exact conjunct, but conjuncts the energy starts before and it lasts a little while after. But the conjunct of Jupiter and Chiron in Cancer is healing the mother wound and I think healing the patriarchy.
Ooh. Oh, yes. Thankfully, I should say thankfully. Um, I was born before that. So, but that it's very interesting about 89 beyond. I mean, July 89 beyond.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Jupiter, Chiron, and then I think too, yeah, just like the acknowledgement, because we were lovingly talking a lot of shit about Cancer because we have to.
We
But
both
I
have Cancer moms, so we had a front row view of Cancer.
we most certainly did, and will always have it.
Mhm.
Okay. And I have a Mars in Cancer and a Chiron in Cancer, so I could talk shit. But no, I think too, maybe what you're helping me understand, so thank you for that acknowledgement, is I feel like my generation has a very strong spine around Cancerian emotionality and self-disclosure. Not
Mhm.
necessarily this is who I am, but this is what I'm feeling. I genuinely have noticed that my 89ers do know how to name what we're feeling in real time.
Yeah.
And I would say, to give Cancer all the credit in the world, that for the times in which we live currently, understanding and operationalizing Cancerian wisdom is mandatory for societal well-being. To be really honest with you, I think the other 11 are electives. I do. I do. But the longer I study astrology and the more that I see the horrible, dehumanizing results of settler colonialism, genocide, all the isms and phobias, militarism, imperialism, capitalism, materialism. If the culture understood Cancer, we would never tarry in that.
Yes. I was just thinking about this morning, like how I'm so grateful to have had the awareness that like white supremacy was simply an idea that caught
Yep.
on. And so every idea can also be that like it's like deep hooky tentacles, you know what I mean? Like when people do like, you know,
Mm.
spiritual exorcisms, they pull things out and I hear people talk about like hooks in things. And I feel like it's like one of those things, but like we can do that with other ideas. You know what I mean? Like the idea that that was made up and so therefore you can think something else, like you don't have to believe all of those lies that a bunch of white guys told you or told ancestors so
Yes.
they could profit, right? And like extract our labor.
Ooh, ooh. And then that back to Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Capricorn. Like, I don't want to say who but us, but in a way, who can talk about how it became an idea and then it became institutionalized.
Hmm.
And we have an example, although, a terribly violent one that was not perfect, but we have an example where slavery in the American South, being a part of the economic system there, was removed, right? So we've had those political changes before. We've had those political miracles before, those U-turns. We just have to have another one in so many other different ways. And genuinely, I believe if it's not inspired by Cancer's wisdom, it's going to be insufficient, incomplete, and just like incrementalism. Same old, same old. I'm putting lipstick on a dead body, but it's still dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't get me started.
Oh, the whole point
So
of you being
maybe
on my podcast is to start you up, Colin.
I don't know why you think you're
Coffee.
here, but it's not to serve white tank top from space. Okay. So for listeners, I'm still wearing my white tank top from the fucking flight. But yeah, I think maybe that's that Jupiter Chiron conjunction in Cancer. That's beautiful. Yeah, and really modeling, what that means. And honor the motherland, honor the ancestors. That's huge too in like millennial 89 culture is ancestral wisdom, reparenting. So yeah, that's a really astute observation. I don't think anyone's ever made that for me before. So thank you.
Ooh, I love going first. Okay.
Yes, Cardinal.
I will also say that like Cancer is a sign that like is so nurturing and feeding. Like every Cancer wants to make food for you,
No.
and like you leave their house with piles of food, right? And like one of my friends is a Cancer sun, Cancer rising, and he's like a gastro genius.
Ooh.
And like just everything is just piles of deliciousness on deliciousness and like
Oh,
so I think in many ways, like, yes, Cancer, like we need everyone deserves food. You know what I mean? The fact that people are born on Earth and like they aren't guaranteed food and housing is nuts to me. Like
absurd.
totally absurd. Like there's plenty of food. There's plenty of
It's
housing,
plenty of money.
actually,
Right.
like we just need to we need to go back to the kitchen and rearrange some things.
Right. So which one of us can make this happen as fast as humanly possible? Go ahead.
Hmm. I mean, and
That's
it's
the
not one of us, it's a bunch of us because it's
yeah.
the collective that's going
Mhm.
to topple, right? Like, I want to refer to Adrienne Marie Brown's Emergent Strategies, which is also a great book.
Scorpio moon like you.
Oh, I didn't realize a Virgo with a Scorpio moon. She's unstoppable.
Yes, yes, that's my niece too. So happy belated birthday to my niece, Virgo with the Scorpio
Oh,
moon. But yes, yes, we'll just go back to the kitchen, rearrange some things, discuss the fact that we have plenty of resources, we have plenty of money for this. But then, and then what is that back to the lack of reverence for Cancer, the fact that the country that America spends half of its economy in the military industrial complex. Half of
yeah.
our money goes there. Like it's insane. That is, and I think if Americans really tracked those numbers and was able to understand that, we would be like, what are we even doing? But again, because we don't have food security, housing security, health security, we're just trying to fucking survive. So we're not thinking about the American GDP,
Hmm.
trying to just make sure we get food on the fucking table. So that's all intentional. No, I know. So Cancer, I always say, is the only sign required for graduation. It's mandatory. The rest are electives. No, no disrespect, but respectfully, that's the fucking truth.
Yes. Cancer's here to save the world.
Honestly, and then like just the everything that it represents around like children and honoring your descendants and telling the justice of your ancestors. I mean, everything that Cancer takes a stand for, the culture needs, and without those concepts, there is always suffering, violence, warfare, oppression. It's just such an if-then correlation.
Yes.
Ugh,
I
my
think
Cancer.
I love you getting riled up. It's really fun. Um, in okay, so 2024 is a big year, and part of what I think, just metaphysically experiencing it, is that it's such a like okay. Earth has linear time. The rest of the metaverse does not, right? But something's going on in 2024 on Earth that has an effect on the metaverse. And so we're getting a lot of spiritual attention this year, and a lot of like guides and ancestors are coming through. And I think the millennial generation is the first generation that has enough like resources, like running water, heat, you know, health access, sorta, right? Like
Hmm.
to be present enough to heal generational trauma, right? And be open to like spirits and ancestral work. And like we have the internet, which is sharing information and sharing like everything I know about interacting with my ancestors, I learned from some bitch online. You know what I mean? And I mean bitch in a reverent way. But like
1,000%. There's only one way, and it's reverence.
right? Like I don't learn a lot of this stuff in person because all my like covens are everywhere, you know, and we've gathered digitally. So yeah, anyway, thoughts on that if you have any.
Ooh, well, no, I'm thinking out loud because that's such a fascinating idea. Yeah, so I'll tell you what, 2025 is going to be bonkers. 2024 is a test drive. It really is. It's training wheels, boo boo. Yeah, because next year we have Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune all entering new signs, and Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 19 years.
Thank God.
So yeah, God. So I'm more curious about those changes, but in terms of like what feels like now, yeah, I can almost see that. And honestly, I think a lot of it had to do with the October 7th incident, right? The
Ah,
October 7th catastrophe. Yeah, and like just waking us up to like where we're polarized, where certain things are so normal, where they shouldn't be. Like
mhm.
there's so much there that I think has accelerated 2024, but it hasn't necessarily been enacted yet, and I think we'll see that in 2025 because we've been in very much like an Earth dominant, yeah, like transits with Uranus and Taurus, Pluto and Capricorn, and now we're moving to air fire. So it's very different. Energy, action, move it the fuck along. So we're gonna see that in 2025. But
You
again, I was just that was the first time I ever heard that context. So I'm working out these ideas out loud with you. So
yeah, and I also think that like here's the thing, stuff like okay, the idea that next year could be more bonkers than this year, and this year has certainly been more bonkers than last, and then more, but like I
you're
can't
like, I
wait to
can't.
recall the 2020s. Like,
This is when we
yo,
met.
yes,
I was thinking
this
about that
decade,
for
yeah.
2020. Yeah.
But like just thinking about this decade year by year and how it just gets more bonkers and like but it's good. I mean, I think you're right. Like a lot of people are having very brutal awakenings to the actual brutality of the world. And like, and I loved they did this celebrity guillotine thing where like there was this movement to block celebrities and to
Yes.
and like someone did the work of like saying, here are all the Kardashians and all of their businesses, block all of these things, you know, and like just what
Mm.
I thought it was a beautiful movement. You know, a lot of people lost like 3 million people, and that's a lot. I mean, when
Wow.
you have 111 million followers, 3 million, it's devastating no matter what, because those people are so shallow. They care a lot about that stuff. So,
Yeah.
it's like me losing 2,000 followers, right? Like, it's like still a
So,
devastating moment. And
yeah.
they should know that their silence on genocide is going to continue to cost them because I think it's only going to keep going in this direction.
Yes. And I think that's what we may see in 2025 is that air fire impulse, which is that like, all right, enough now, like speak your truth, like you've had the time to learn about the history, blah, blah, blah. And I think where those of us who have heavy earth placements, which we do, really need to be the annoying people in the room to say, wait a minute, love the intent. Is the impact going to actually match what it is that you're trying to intend? Are these people going to learn anything or are we just going to punish them?
Mhm.
And that's the hard part for Capricorn is like really acknowledging that so much of what we do is actually just not the culture is harsh, punitive, and punishing, which
Mhm.
has a 0% shift in behavior. So like then what? What are we really doing here?
I mean,
you
I
know?
think what we're doing here is it's like it's not so much about punishment to that person, although it is still fun to see the results. I
Scorpio
can't.
moon,
I'm a
yeah, we love it,
Scorpio moon.
right?
Vengeance is mine. I love with vengeance, Venus and Scorpio. You know, like
Vengeance is mine, saith Bevan. Okay.
this is when you're talking about being around Capricorns to like really ground your Capricorn moon. Like I love being around Scorpios when I need to remember my shadow self. And I'm like, what does vengeance look like in this circumstance? And I ask a Scorpio friend, like,
Oh, and now they will give you several different outcomes, each more bloodier than the next. Okay. Go ahead.
I had to go camping with someone who I was like not having a good experience with. And it was a group setting. And so I talked to a Scorpio friend before I went. I was like, how am I going to deal with being in it? Because it'd been a long time since I'd been in a group with someone I had discomfort with. But it turns out what I do is the Cardi B quote, if I see you and I don't speak, that means I don't fuck with you. Right. Like that's it. That's it. That's what I do. But it was funny because I was like nervous about it and having a Scorpio do the play by play of like the mean thing versus just the and then my his wife is a Capricorn moon who reminded me, Bevan, that everyone is just punishing themselves more than you could ever do it. And I was like, you're right. I know you're right, but let me have my vengeance moment. Let me think about it.
That is it. Yeah, they are ripping themselves to shreds
Totally.
more than we ever could. That is so, so true. Because it's just that Capricorn, like real talk. Like, so
Mhm.
then with your time, with your energy, what are you going to choose to invest in?
Yeah. And
But I,
it's withdrawing attention. That's I mean, this is ultimately what it is. We only have three resources: our time, talent, and attention, right? Wait. Time, treasure, no, time, treasure, talent. It's our time, which is our attention
wow.
currency.
Where did you get that from? The three
You.
T's? Because
You
I was
give me
like,
the
my
three T's.
grandmother quotes that. That's so
No,
funny.
it's you. You are I was already knowing that like attention was currency and time and attention and actual money are currency and then also what you invest yourself into, but you were the one who said time, talent, treasure and I was like, "Oh, that's better. Let me switch to that." So it's been
We
clunky.
love alliteration around
Yeah.
here, don't we? Yeah.
It's easier to remember and also your talent really is such a resource because if you can do something in 15 minutes that saves someone days and lots of money, like that's such an investment, you know?
Because then you get, oh, that's so true. You get your time back.
Mhm.
Oh
And you
my
can
God,
save
and
other
now I'm,
people their time by investing 15 minutes of your time, right?
hold on a minute. What if an astrology reading is you buying back your time? Because right there at the hands, what else is it?
Yeah.
But realizing like what time you're in, what the time is asking of you.
What
Yo,
the time is helping you with, because if there are things to do in this time during these transits, right? And an astrologer can help you understand like flow in this way and things are easier. Like, frankly, I did not incarnate to toil. I came here to enjoy or eat some snacks and help. I'm just here to help.
I'm just here to help and like run to Sephora real quick. Like, does anybody want to run to the brush aisle with me? Like, you
Can't go
go.
to Sephora anymore, Colin. I have to buy
Oh,
everything online. Well, partially because like I use another beauty brand that's not through Sephora, but
okay.
also I found buying things that are sticky in my addictions. It's much easier to do online with a list, you know, and like if because if you go into Sephora for blush, you come out with $100 worth of stuff you didn't need.
The beauty to go aisle is where my pocketbook
Yes.
just incinerates.
Yeah, of course I did. The impulse buy is there, and I just want it, and like it's little or it's cute, you know,
Right,
and like you know what, there is some time for the pleasure of shopping, of course, right? Like let's make space for the activities that cause us pleasure. Like I
right.
don't gamble, but boy do I love shopping. And so I have to I have to really mitigate things. Like, you know, you can't keep certain snacks in your house if you know like you open the bag of chips, you're going to finish the bag of chips, right? Like so
What else am I gonna do? Just leave a half-eaten bag of chips?
no, come on.
Oh, wait. So really quickly, two things. What's your favorite chip flavor? And then I have to come clean about something. What's your
My
favorite
favorite lip flavor?
chip flavor if you
Dip
had the bag?
flavor. Oh man. I really like the Kettle brand truffle flavor, the
The
purple bag.
purple one?
Purple bag.
I
That's
know
a single
exactly what
serving.
you're talking
It's a single serving.
could not agree more. My brother, poor bastard, had to go to Harris Teeter, the southern grocery store when we were visiting my parents in North Carolina. He would buy me like two a day because he's like this fucking gavone. He'll eat
Yeah,
like it's a children's size. Yeah, exactly. Single serving.
yeah.
Couldn't agree.
And like, listen, you just gotta like. And here's the thing: what's your brother's sign?
He's a Taurus.
A Taurus. See,
Oh,
also a
Taurus.
good snack sign. Sagittarius and Taurus are good for the snacks and the feasting, but Cancer is gonna like cook for you and feed you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
totally.
but
That was my dad's Cancer moon. My mom, like her son's in the 12th house, so she's like she's very Cancerian, but then beyond all things.
sort of
And
Piscean in many ways with the heavy 12th house person lifestyle.
totally. And then my dad's Cancer moon. He can cook like I've never seen.
Oh,
And my dad got it.
what a
Yeah.
beautiful way that they balance each other out with that.
Wait, so purple bag, amazing.
Uh-huh.
And then if you had to buy a perfume, what would it be? I want to hear
Um,
I want your perfume choice.
okay, so it's technically not a perfume, it's an oil. But so Awaken with Fatima on Instagram owns, her name is Fatima, owns a shop in New Orleans called Path of Awakenings. And I won this like fire goddess package from them. And in that package is this Lilith oil. It is exquisite. It's like sweet and floral. And like, I don't know what's in it. There's a little glitter in it too. But like, it is like I love this fragrance so much, and like I want to funnel all the money to Fatima and Path of Awakenings. If you ever go to New Orleans or you want to shop online, Path of Awakenings.
I love it. Thank you, Fatima. Okay, Path of Awakenings. And then just because we talked about Sephora, I just want to come clean and say I used to work there, but I got fired from that job because I was giving people unauthorized discounts if you want tea.
You know what? I
How,
love that. A man of
how
the people.
Gemini is that?
It is. You're a friend to everyone, and
Right.
in the moment, you just want to, help people have their beauty.
Right. Oh, this Burberry perfume is $75. No, it's not. It's 13.
Oh, that kind of discount.
Yeah, I was bad. I got in big trouble. I got in big trouble, Capricorn. I just want to come clean and tell the truth. Tell on myself. Oh well.
It
I
feels
own.
very Robin Hood and very Mars and Cancer.
Right. Like I
The
want to smell good.
sensuousness.
Right. Let me give people like nice stuff. Right. So you can smell good at home. Hair
Yes.
tug. I know, hair tug. Always just a hair tug. I learned that from my lesbian husband. Like whenever I'm doing this, I'm making a point.
Yes.
Woo!
I like to do that when I think, am I winning?
Yes, you are. In fact, you don't win unless you do it. And sometimes you might need two.
Oh, oh,
Right.
oh my God, I love it. I love it. Okay. Are you a Jupiter and Gemini?
Most assuredly.
What is a Jupiter return like for people?
Oh, it's such a great question. So it happens every 11 years, every 11 and a half, 12, right? Depending on yeah, no longer than that. Jupiter return is when transiting Jupiter. So the current Jupiter returns to where it was when we were born, right? So the first half of 89 had Jupiter in Gemini and then went back into Cancer in the second half. So what typically happens is we renew our commitment to Jupiter ruled things like vision, hope, and optimism,
Mm.
education, exploration. So I'll tell you what, no, excuse me, my second Jupiter return in my 20s, when I turned 23, 24, was brutal. That's when I really got evicted off the premises of my own life because everything just went right.
Yeah. That sounds very Saturn return honestly when you get evicted from the
But
premises.
I think because I am technically a Capricorn masquerading as a Gemini, my
Yeah.
Saturn return was incredible. Like, I finally felt effective, that I had an environment that supported my career. It was the most, it was unbelievable, my Saturn return, but my Jupiter return was really hard. And so
I
that
think you can make a Saturn return easier for those of you who are under the age of
30.
27. Um, and also under the age of second Saturn returns like late 50s, right? So like I think you can make it easier on yourself if you surrender to the lessons that are coming up before, right? So I think you had been totally surrendered, and then you hit your Saturn return, and Saturn's like, "You're doing great."
Yeah, and you know what? I think I love when I read people who are 25, 26 because they're post Jupiter return, but pre Saturn return.
Hmm.
So Jupiter tells you what you need to know, and then Saturn says, now make it physical, make it tangible. So my beloved colleague and friend Rick Levine says Saturn is always asking, how do we make the meta physical? I know, isn't that sexy? I
Yeah.
love I love Rick. And so when you're in a Saturn return after a Jupiter return, right, which does happen in both eras, yeah, you're really trying to take something, more meta and make it physical. And I'm definitely doing that now. I'm only a few months in. It started 3 months ago, but like I'm just having a lot more fun with astrology again. I'm also enjoying teaching in a more Gemini style, which I love, and that's how I learned astrology was more experientially in conversation on a dance floor in the city, watching other people in the environment, in the ecosystem. That's how I learned. I was never a classically trained astrologer with courses and certification programs. That was not my Jupiter story. So what's been really fantastic is now I'm thinking, okay, how do I teach astrology, Jupiter, the way that it was taught to me through people, not predictions?
Love
You
that.
know, because I'm a little nervous with the current culture, generally speaking, of astrology on the internet, and so I can't get mad unless I'm doing something to show an alternative. And so that's what I'm going to be doing is just really taking more of a Gemini, lighthearted, curious, people-focused, relationship-centered approach to this system instead of honestly where we have a patriarchal echo, which is that predictions were meant to keep a king in power. That's it.
Wow.
And so a lot of the way astrology is positioned online is how do you stay in power? How do you stay in control? How do you stay hypervigilant and risk averse?
Oh, because everyone is seeking an antidote to uncertainty, when in fact, the only thing to do is just sit in the discomfort and be willing to not know or even need to know, like,
Yes. And I think when we take that stand, that's a very Aries ruled stance of just, and it's a comparative theme too, right? Like Jesus said, be ye like little children because they know they don't know. The
hmm
I Ching talks about bringing an empty rice bowl, right? There's a lot of emptying. The great path is there is no path,
hmm
right? So there's that theme. But you're absolutely right. I think we're learning rather painstakingly how to find maximizing our tolerance level for uncertainty as the dominant stance, as opposed to, oh, I know what's going to happen. So yeah, and that's been my Jupiter return story of just like, all right, well, I love this industry and this career. It's changed my life. I'm not thrilled with where I see a lot of it going, and so let me provide a different path for this exploration,
Ooh.
which is very new. I never thought I'd be doing this, but here we are.
I mean, that's kind of a classic thing I've said about my life many times is like, I never thought, like, man, I loved drinking. And when I was 33 years old, it became very clear that I could not continue drinking. It was like, I didn't even fully understand it as like a command from spirit, but like, it was.
Wow.
And I think central casting is like looking down and being like, is this one gonna like integrate these lessons from Saturn return? Are they down for the cause?
Mm.
And I think that's why like these years right now with like this millennial micro generation, like turning 33, 34, 35, right? Like this kind of Jesus year, right? Like it's the integration of Saturn return lessons and like this, like, where are we going? And I see a lot of my friends like having a little bit of hindsight on our 30s. I can see where a lot of my friends got off the ride and they're just like survival. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do this thing. And
Okay. Are they
yeah.
feeling better? Have they gotten off the ride? Are they
Oh,
happier with?
think
Yeah.
people are happy when they get off the ride. I think they think it's going to make them happy, but like I think there is a joy. I don't know. Maybe some people are. Everyone has different life lessons, right? Like I don't want to generalize, but I think for me, I would have killed myself if I had really like and my mental health in many ways is like the bumpers on the bowling ball gutters, right? Like if I get too far away, like my mental health spirals, and I'm like, okay, I got to get back to the center of the lane, right? So, um, yeah.
Mm. I love that you keep mentioning this millennial generation. Yeah, I think there is a lot of collective and individual work that we're doing about the work, about behavior modification, about yeah, like leaving and getting off the ride, but then finding new systems and working online. I mean, we didn't have the language for this in the early 2000s.
No.
People would be working on the internet. So yeah, we're in such a wild terrain, but I actually think that where Capricorn gets a lot of motivation around it is there's nobody who has power over me in this, which brings up a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. But I choose, I am responsible, I decide, and that is the most exhilarating thing, I think, for Capricorn influence people.
Yes. And I also want to say that anxiety, like while the opposite of the experience of anxiety is calm, the antidote to anxiety is not calm. The antidote is trust. Like when I
Ooh,
think
come
of
on,
Jesus,
Scorpio moon. Come
I
on, Scorpio moon.
right? When I think about Jesus, I think about someone who was very relaxed, even though he still had a breadth of emotions. Like he was angry, he toppled tables, my favorite story. Like he just like he was real. Like I think Jesus had a lot of, a little Sagittarius, like truth teller in there. Um,
All of it. He had all the signs and
you,
perfect impulse.
you
Like
know,
he drew them
yeah.
all in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do think. I think like if I were to nail him down, like I really think he's like a end of September Libra. You know what I mean? A friend to everyone, but still like heavy Virgo influence because like he was here to teach us how to do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like
Like what is like we're just speculating about Jesus's natal chart as one does, hair tucking. Okay.
this is one of my favorite things to do is speculate about Jesus's natal chart.
Yeah, 1000%. If you're not hair tucking, what are you doing?
Yeah. As someone who was born on Christmas Eve, I can tell you, I do not have Jesus's natal chart. I have Santa Claus's natal chart. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like giving gifts, caring a lot about people, having it together enough to coordinate a crew of, I hope, volunteer elves to, manage
Volunteer elf.
institution.
I love it.
I hope they're not enslaved. That feels really hard. But, they always want to cast, some benevolent patriarch in all roles. And,
Ooh, such a good point. Yeah, I wonder about Jesus's sun sign. Allegedly, he was a Pisces.
who says
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So there's this idea because it's myth, right? Or not, who knows?
Yeah.
But that Virgo, the Virgin Mary.
Oh.
So there's a Mary Jesus integration between Virgo and Pisces around Virgoan striving for excellence and humility and devotion to the divine. And then we become impregnated with the Christ-like version of ourselves, the Piscean experience, the transcendence. And that Virgo Pisces axis of like it's actually achieved through the small, simple, annoying, free, affordable things that people love to resist, like just drinking your water, meditating, journaling, that all those things, the very Virgo and hello, the things that we love to critique and reject, give us the direct experience with the divine. Don't play me, so that could be argued is the Virgo Pisces because Christ, its symbol being the fish
Hmm.
behind me somewhere,
Yeah, up there.
right? So then that there we go. Or just again, who knows? Who knows?
I mean, we'll never know, but I think it's a fun thing to speculate.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also, since we're talking about the Pisces fish, I propose that their names are both and.
Yes. I swear, and it's so fucking funny that like that is the Pisces final wisdom. If we could just embrace both end. Oh my God. It's that simple, it's that obvious, it's that hard.
Yeah, because it's like we get so distracted, like even talking about like body fascism, like the idea that there's one right way to have a body, that really distracts you from everything else going on and makes you so self-focused that like it's so hard. Because like if you're afraid, people are easy to control, and if you're afraid of your own body, so easy to control. Right. And so, like, it's like they make things complicated, but actually, it's quite simple. I mean, they talk about this in A Course in Miracles all the time. Like, it really is actually quite simple. And the work of this is tossing away all the other stuff that isn't.
1,000%. And I think because we have Capricorn and Virgo in our charts, we want simplicity. Not every zodiac sign, I think, has that impulse.
Mhm.
So it's funny that we are kind of like acknowledging that don't be so skeptical of simplicity. Shouldn't spirituality be simple? There, why are we suspicious? We should be excited, relieved that it actually our solutions ought not to be as complicated as our problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know we went Jupiter return story here, but I love it. We're musing, we're thinking out loud, we're hair tucking, we're convinced that Jesus is a Pisces.
Uh-huh. I sound confidence, but I'm sure of nothing. That's one of my.
Nothing. I know that I always want to say that, especially around all of these topics. Okay, because what do I know? But as only a Capricorn can take on this beautiful, like mountain seaside journey of concepts and topics. So thank you.
One of my favorite things, speaking of experiential astrology, because I too have not ever taken a class. It's all just been, once I started paying attention, every lunar cycle, new moon, full moon, you learn a little bit about opposing signs. And I do posit that Gemini and Sagittarius, of all the polar opposite signs, are the most similar. Uh,
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say
yeah.
that. Yes,
It's
yes,
like it's
yes.
like, but you learn a lot about these things, right? And so, but by experience. And then this weekend, there was a bunch of people camping on my land, and I got to just observe people. And there's one person I really want to follow up with because I've guessed their birthday based on how they present. Because like they said, I love to feed people, which makes me think cancer or cancer adjacent. But then they're also like very spotlight, but like a natural cheerleader. And I'm like, I think last week of July, July Leo.
Try to change my mind because you can't, right? So you might be a Leo sun, but we're feeling Venus, Mercury in Cancer, Mars in
Yes,
Cancer.
exactly. I'm thinking chart ruler is in Cancer. Uh, but like, I can be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. And that's the thing
Right.
about life. It's just like be willing to be wrong. Screw up, have an idea.
Have a both end moment. Like I'm wrong, but I'm right. Like both are true. No, I don't know. That's too mutable. Oh, well, let me know what if you find out what this person's sign is. But I love that you're observing and watching. And now, did you talk to them about that? And did they say anything to you or no?
No, I didn't, because it was just like in hindsight, I was like, oh, I think this is what it is. And so, like in big groups of people, there's never enough time. Right. I love getting together with people. It's like, and see, that's the thing. It's like I'm really resurrecting that energy in the last year or so after spending a lot of time. I've had my Uranus opposition uh
Yes.
the
And
last few
Saturn
years.
opposition. You have that as well because you're
Yeah.
Saturn and Virgo.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So a lot of things, but I have to say I enjoy Saturn and Pisces energy because I have a 12th house Saturn Virgo. So
Oh,
like
good.
it always feels like that anyways, just like, oh, we're not really on the earth plane. We try to have boundaries. We try to have a container. Like I understand my container is always just an idea that could fall apart at any moment, right? So,
I like how quickly we're realizing all these things that we're going to ascribe meaning and physicality to
uh-huh.
evaporate. Saturn and Pisces. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
like. Wait, I just have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So the person that you were uncomfortable with, that you went camping with, what wound up happening?
Well, it wasn't uncomfortable. I was like totally I actually liked that person. That's why I was observing them so much. I was like, oh, nothing has happened. But the doorway to my heart creaked open a little bit. And
Wow. So the person you were like, oh, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
no, I didn't feel like I was going to kill them. I was just observing them.
Oh, okay. Wait, we are talking about the same person, right? Because remember how you asked the Scorpio, like, what should I
Oh, that
do
person. Oh,
now?
yeah, that person. Nothing. Well, you know what ended up happening? I thought I was the only person that had an issue with this person in this group. Everyone else was like her big fan. And what ends up happening, and this has happened many times in my life, and I'm not saying I'm always right, Colin.
You don't have to.
I don't have to. Experience will show out. People always show their ass, and they show their ass to me first.
Always.
because I'm psychic and I pay attention, right? And so that person had already showed her ass to me a couple times, and I was like, "Argh." And then she showed her ass to everybody and tortured herself more than I could have ever with any
Of
vengeance.
course. So wishing them well.
Wishing
Yeah,
them
but
well. They're
yeah,
out of my life.
there we go. Yeah, and that's the real Scorpio moon tea of like, why do you think you need to be the universe's vigilante? Nobody does a better job telling on themselves than other people.
Exactly. And
What are you
also,
doing?
and as much as I enjoy being right, like releasing the need to be right, like is such a
Oh,
freeing life because
oh,
like even though I am always right, like I can look in hindsight, my intuition is always right. And so now that's the boss of my life. Like I say yes, chef to my intuition all the time because I'm like, I don't get it yet, but I know I will. Uh
eventually, right.
eventually. Right. And like so like my intuition on people is usually very correct.
Ooh, yeah, I think that's what I love about my Scorpio influence friends is that they just have a pulse on the truth.
Mhm.
Their challenge, I think, is how do they position it in a way that allows the other person to like redeem themselves and get it right, right? Because they can be a
Yeah.
little Scorpio can be very punitive, suspicious, and hypervigilant. But
Mhm.
when they tell me, like, no, you really need to be careful there. That's the end of the conversation. I take what they say with like to heart. I love my Scorpio influence friends for that reason. Is they're always like they're watching out for me all the time in all the corners, top left, right, bottom, in front of me, behind me. They have such a 360 on things. And I love that about you guys. I just want to give that Scorpio moon credit. Ooh.
It's this Scorpio, like deep diving mermaid, detective of the Zodiac, like gets to the bottom of things. Like if I ever like need to know something about an ex, I'll ask a Scorpio friend to go look at their Instagram, and within 5 minutes I get an answer, right? Like,
They already have the file
yeah,
on their name and the last four digits of their social security number.
yeah. 100%. And like and the thing I think the issue with Scorpio is just learning again, it's trust, right? It's just like learning to trust and have faith in something higher than like the worst case scenario because we're creators, right? And so like just because you can observe people fucking up doesn't mean
Ooh,
you can't set an because again, master people skills is just like holding an esteem like if someone is fucking up in 90% of their life, you focus on the 10%. You know what I mean? Like just trust and focus on the highest, and people will sometimes rise to your expectations of them, and like just being judicious with your time and who you invest in and all of that kind of stuff.
and I think, yeah, and I think that's actually the wisdom of Sag.
Mm.
See if there's a sign we haven't incorporated wisdom, and just by you speaking, is that if the 10% of you is the potential that I know you're capable of, I'm gonna see you there. Because if I see you in the 90, like everyone else does, you have no choice but to reenact those very patterns of whatever I determined is your, characteristic flaw. But
Mhm.
when Sag holds a vision of what's possible, people feel it and they step into it. And that's what I think of, and I get emotional every time when I reflect on the Sagittarius friends in my life is like they have always seen me as who I can be rather than who I've been. And they don't bring in shame or judgment or anger around any of it. They just sort of allow me to be unburdened by my mistakes and my shit and have helped me become, a person I'm really proud to be. I couldn't have done any of this without Sag, truly.
uh, I love that. My two favorite uh adjectives for Sagittarius are unabashed and
Uh,
itinerant.
what's the second one?
Itinerant.
I don't know that. I don't know that definition. Tell me,
I
Virgo
mean,
rising.
they're wanderers, right? Like they're nomads, right? And so like I was thinking through like how to talk about that, but in a way that like isn't focused on the Irish goodbye. Like it's not it's not them dipping, it's because they got other places to be. They just,
I'm told I will
they got here
goodbye.
for a good
Oh,
time, not a long time.
itinerant. And maybe that's why like Gemini Sag are like such homies
Totally.
because we are committed to nothing basically.
Mhm.
And I think that's what I appreciate about them so much is like, yeah, we don't make a lot of promises or plans. It's not heavy on that kind of like agreement space. It's just wandering exploration. And you would think that's chaos and anarchy. But you know what I actually find? It's very erotic.
Mm.
That's what I love about my Sagittarian friends is that when I tell them like no plans, we're gonna just figure this out as and when, there's an erotic friction and an erotic energy that invites more spontaneity, surprise, happenstance. Yeah, just want to say that.
I think one of my favorite things about being friends with you is that your birthday is the same as my dad's. So you're both May 24th Geminis. And my dad had a Sagittarius moon. So I think he really like just embodied all of the itinerants of it
Totally.
and like is on the other side. I like my relationship with my dad, which I've talked about in this podcast, like just how the grief of him has really allowed me a fresh relationship. Oh, and I'd love your take on this, which you might have no take on this, but I have a friend who's a Scorpio whose son passed away. She's a medium, she's a really powerful psychic, and she said, I think when people die, they become like it's almost like their sun sign is it changes as a spirit to like when they passed. So like her son passed during he was a Cancer, but he passed during Aquarius season, and she experiences his spirit as an Aquarius. And my dad passed during Aquarius or during Capricorn season, and I experience him like just showing up in a way he couldn't when he was a Gemini Sag moon.
Wow. I have nothing to add on that. The Scorpio moon. Wow. Yeah, because I've heard of death charts before, but I never saw them as like almost, I don't want to say rectification because but it almost is a rectification because, there's no such thing as life and death. It's just a continuation.
Yeah.
So what if the death chart shows, oh my God, I'm gonna have to muse on that. But thank you so much for that point. And do you know your Scorpio friend's son's name by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah, do you mind just bringing him into the space? I love like honoring them and saying their name.
Oh, her name is
No, her son's name.
her son's name Brandon.
Brandon.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Brandon, for that realization. Thank you, Scorpio mom, because leave it to a Scorpio woman to have that insight.
Right?
Oof, yes. I now can I ask like random questions of you, like almost a rapid fire?
Please.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you of the elements, which one would you fuck, marry, or kill?
Oh,
Ready?
okay.
Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces? Fuck, marry, or kill.
Oh, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Kill Pisces.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
what's the other one? Cancer,
And Scorpio. And
Scorpio.
fuck.
Fuck
Mhm.
Scorpio, marry Cancer.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn.
Oh, kill Capricorn.
So,
Fuck Taurus. Marry Virgo.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And you can be ruthless with me.
Um, marry Libra. I've always thought because like Libra is like a hole in my chart, so I've always kind of thought that that was likely. And I was engaged once to a Libra, so I feel like that's a likely thing.
Yes.
Um, I think kill Aquarius, fuck Gemini.
Nice. Okay. Aries, Leo, Sag.
Kill Aries, um, fuck Leo, marry Sag.
Oh, love it. Yay. That could be another Instagram feature of like top, bottom, reverse, fuck, marry, or kill.
Yes.
Yes, yes. The elements. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because
Oh,
again, it's just stupid Gemini. Let's learn through nothing, but we're learning.
yes, exactly. It really is quite beautiful because like the idea of learning having to be this like very serious and very like prescriptive thing is very like again, it's like the airline seats. It's one size fits all, but it doesn't. And most people don't learn best that way. Most people learn best through experience. And
Yes,
like
come on.
some people got to learn through the language of pain, and some people can learn through the language of joy, or like some hybrid path. But like there is nothing to me more joyful than the dance floor and observation and being like, oh, I think this cute person is A late July Leo.
Okay. I hope you're listening, listener.
Uh,
Okay. And then yeah, that changes your practice and experience with astrology better than any information or education ever could. I shouldn't say better, worse than. But no, and I just think I'd like to see us, those of us who are involved in like personal growth and spiritual seeking, of course, keep it grounded, keep it clear, make sure people know it's not all about us all the time. But like yeah, where's the seduction? Like, where's the erotic energy that excites me and makes me feel connected and alive and like the Martian energy. I love that, and I want to bring more of that in my work as often as possible. And I honestly, I think I can only do that through my chest hair at this point. That's the only way I can do it.
that's why you wear your little tank tops.
Bev, listen to me. Like I'm telling you right now, having just gotten back from Istanbul, the way those boys, the Turks, make their entire personality from their chest hair,
They really do.
I will be doing the same thing.
I
Uh,
really love you had a recent reel where you popped out of the pool, chest hair blazing.
Come on. Just
It's a Pisces eclipse. What else are you gonna do?
hello, but serve the drama. Okay. And just
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, wet hair, chesty, like it's
Uh-huh.
hot, whatever. Goodbye. You
You're
know?
glistening. You're glistening. Leo rising. Uh,
God, thank you.
okay, speaking of learning, this is something I wanted to ask you about before we wrap up. Is
Sure.
last time you were on my podcast, you were beginning your work learning in the Gottman Institute about relationships, which I just think just chef's kiss on top of being an astrologer. It's just like please,
Oh, thank
like
you.
your daily subscription is so rich. I love it so much. It's just a way to like ground myself. I don't have that astrology clock yet, but I do have my daily text notes from Colin with like a five
No.
things right up now. Like, and I love watching your stuff evolve and like, um,
Oh, thank
ah,
you.
so much wisdom in that. I love it so much. So the Gottman Institute on relationships, like, how has that process gone? What's it like to study there, and anything, any reflections you have?
Any reflections? Well, I'll tell you what, actually, true Gemini style. So, I couldn't enroll with the Gottman Institute because I'd have to be a clinician. So I went with Relational Life Therapy
Oh,
Institute.
okay, okay.
So,
Based on the
yeah,
Gottman stuff, right? Okay.
yeah. Well, they're similar, yes, very similar, but like the Relational Life Therapy Institute by Terry Real, he is allowed to be a little bit more esoteric and spiritual. He's still a clinician, right? So he's got both. But I think that the Gottmans generally shy away from that because they're more evidence-based researchers, but we need both, Virgo Pisces, right?
Yep.
So I think that my work will, I shouldn't say always, right? But will always attempt to address loneliness and disconnection
Mhm.
because astrology has helped me feel like I belong on the dance floor and everyone else, you know? And what I've decided is to, for the future of my career, honestly, like just show my own life a little bit more than necessarily go to these trainings. So that's been a kind of Jupiter return lesson for me because honestly, Bevan, like because I've chosen astrology as a career path, what it's done to improve my life, I want to start sharing and I want to start showing. And again, like if it's too much on the learning and the schooling and the training, which is necessary, I don't feel that same energy of enthusiasm and connection. And I would like to be looking at astrology from less of an academic lens and more of an artistic one. So I don't need to go to a training or a schooling for that. In fact, like I've just been having so much fun experimenting with like astrologer as performer, astrologer as comedian, astrologer as dancer, astrologer as buffoon, to quote my friend Nate. Like, yeah, so I'm not in that path anymore, all this to say.
Oh,
But
oh.
still remembering and retaining and teaching as best as I can the information I learned, not saying like I have this certification or whatever, but just summarizing the data. And yeah, because back to Leo Aquarius, I genuinely believe that we have so much Aquarius information. we do not have as much Leo inspiration.
Hmm.
I believe that people have received all the data they need to be motivated, but they haven't received a fraction of what they need to be moved. And that's Leo Aquarius. You can have all the information and all the motivation and all the education. Is it going to move you to better behavior? Are you inspired? That's the performer, that's the artist, that's the comedian. No, and that's where I'd like to actually go a little bit more. And I'm sort of embracing that, Leo rising energy of just like, wait a minute, I have a performer's instinct. Oh,
Yes.
my reading for performances. This is a performance, and it doesn't make it any less inauthentic. It's just this like performance is real. I don't have to tell you, you're as queer as they come. This is why I love talking to my bitches about it. But anyway, that's my long answer.
I love that. And you know what is really liberating is recognizing as an adult we have choices and
Yeah.
there's nothing that's compulsory other than like, death and taxes, right? And like even
Other than the Scorpio shit.
yeah, other than those things, but like right, like I think it's been very liberating for me. I've been studying under my friend Leah Garza, who's been on my podcast a few times. She teaches on ontology. I did her Akashic mentorship last year, and this year I'm doing living systems, which kind of teaches us how we literally live in a living system, like how everything is interconnected. And I'm really glad I did the spiritual work with her first in her pedagogy because like I didn't do all the homework questions. Like she had homework questions because a lot of what she teaches is just how to ask the right questions to spirit because it's if you've ever had a tarot reading you got to ask the right questions, right? And so like and spirit's there to help again, but you just got to learn how to talk, right? And how to inquire, and we're not taught to ask questions. Many
No.
of us, I think, if we were raised in any level of fundamentalism, we're punished for asking questions, right? And so anyway, it's just very liberating because she starts class and says you don't have to do everything, you don't have to do whatever and follow, like you don't have to do the reading, you can lay next to the reading and let it absorb somehow, like it's
Maybe you have a Mercury in the 12th house or Saturn in the 12th house, and you
yeah,
could do that. Go ahead.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, I just think it's like because everything I've heard so much from you, like quoting the Gottman Institute, which is why I forgot
Oh,
you were doing a different.
that's okay.
But it's funny because it's like I see the influence in your work, but like yes, your work is very performative. It's very like God, it's so. You did a whole series. God, your Instagram is so good, and you do it without even like. I mean, I know you try, but like it doesn't seem like you have to try. You know what I mean? Like you did this whole series of like everyone was in black and white, and you were performing as
Oh,
each
that was so
sign of
much
the
fun.
zodiac.
That was so much fun. And again, like that's the energy. Like astrology to me is so joyful. It is erotic, it's funny, it's connecting, it's sexy, it's all these things. How so then my question is how do I not put that in my work? Hello?
Yes.
And so yeah, that was and what a spiritual practice that was to like spend hours with the energy of each zodiac sign and then like have to record it and then let messaging come out that I was not prepared to talk about. It
Yeah.
was amazing. And then learn my fun new camera and then like take it with me on places. And that's I almost want it sounds like such like a terrible namer, but like I almost want to yeah make more of my astrology content like vlogging, like just on the street with the people interacting. Like I just think so much of the teachings is to quote Rick Levine again in an ivory tower when it should be in a control tower.
Mm.
Like we are reaching Bevan Capricorn Airlines, descending into JFK. We're going to land her at gate 3, terminal 2. As opposed to you are a Capricorn who like it's it's just a different way of looking at astrology. I see myself as like a control tower as opposed to like the ivory tower kind of astrologer. And I think that's why I stay alive, baby. That's it.
I mean, I think of my most effective teachers from law school are the ones that made it fun. Like that, I remember one of my professors brought in a guitar and sang a whole song about something, and I'm like, look at you, really just making it engaging and fun in this thing where like there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and I think you do a great job. I can't wait to see your vlogs. I feel like you live such a rich and fun life that like bringing people along on it, like I think in many ways, let's talk a little bit about millennial culture, like being this like we had the intro to the internet and then now we
Yes.
have life on the internet and like there's stuff we miss. I've heard a lot of people talking about missing vlogging and like now we get these 90-second things on Instagram Reels, like, but it's not a real vlog where you're like just talking from your heart, here's what we're doing, right?
Oh, okay, that's good to know because yeah, I was like, I don't know where this is coming from.
It's coming
This
from the
is
collective idea.
yeah, to like get back and like I've been pushing myself to do it very Virgo, like habitually one small goal at a time. And yeah, yesterday when my Uber driver was driving me to Phoenix Airport, we just started talking about astrology, and I was like, "Would you mind if I just record this? Like, just those small things." I gave her a quick little mini reading, and yeah, it was just so much fun and personal, and that's again, I think what people want, not just from the internet, but maybe astrology,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna do that 100%.
Oh, good. I can't wait for it. I know I keep saying I'm going to wrap up, but I have one more question for you, which is Pluto and Scorpio is
Yes,
the millennial, like, kind of defining planet in many ways. Like the whole generation is Pluto and Scorpio. And I'm
yes.
curious for you
Anybody
what,
born from 81 to 95, give or take, folks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the shortest time. Like Pluto's in a lot of signs longer than it's in Scorpio, which I find fascinating.
Well, yeah, we saw quite a lot, like let's keep it the fuck moving anyway. So, and you want to know like what does that mean to have that marker
Yes,
or
exactly. Exactly. What does that mean to have that marker?
I think of it in yeah, really 1 to 2, yeah, many ways. Okay. So, 81 to 95, the onslaught of the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
So sex, death, sickness, shame. In considering Pluto and Scorpio, I would love for folks who may not even think they have a connection to that historical moment actually realize they totally do. Just the fear. People thought that it was transmitted via, but by the breath, by touch. So the suspicion through sex, the shame. Oh my God. I could honestly, I could spend hours on that topic alone, right? Of
Come
just
back on the podcast. Let's talk about AIDS in society.
well, and I know exactly who we'd bring is my Capricorn husband, Christopher Renstrom. He does have a husband, but I call him my Capricorn husband. Okay. But I'll bring him back, bring him on. He is everything. And that's when his career started. And he was reading the natal charts to the men that were dying of AIDS back to them as they were leaving the physical world. Yeah, no, uh, so I would think of that and maybe our own relationship to sex, intimacy, shame, power, abuse, violation. What I would love to see, because that's what we were born in. As we're maturing, we are a generation that's very concerned with violation, and I revere and admire that because Pluto and Scorpio tells the truth. I'd like to see us move from violation to liberation
Mhm.
a little bit, right? And I think that after, Jupiter and Scorpio over our Pluto, right? So post Me Too, post Time's Up.
Mhm.
I would love for Pluto and Scorpio to lead a charge with the help of our Aries world friends about seduction. Because I think that we as a culture are in a really interesting phase of, okay, so if I signal unwanted sexual interest in another human being, that is the textbook definition of harassing. That's a really interesting point. So if I want what another person doesn't want, I'm harassing them. This is where we are, right? So
Yeah.
what's seduction? What's the dance? What's the conversation of like, well, I'm not really hungry, but maybe. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to this yes, no. I mean, of course, like I'm all about consent rules. Let's talk about it. Let's be clear about the rampant sexual violence and abuses that happen. And also, Why are we not talking about seduction and connection and just that energy of like you see someone on the dance floor and you know they're avoiding eye contact with you? Why? Why? Like I would love to see Pluto and Scorpio take on that fucking mantle. I don't know if that's ours, but it's certainly becoming mine because I grew up feeling like if I had gay sex, I was going to die. So then what? So that Pluto and Scorpio honesty around right. So clearly we've made a lot of advances, not as much as we'd like to see. But how do we connect sex and intimacy and eroticism and seduction to a different, generative, challenging? There's friction. It's not politically correct. There's nothing politically correct about Scorpio, right? Nothing. And there shouldn't be because sex is not egalitarian, right? Then what? So that's I know that was a long answer, but I think about that a lot actually.
Good. I'm glad you think about that a lot. I would love to continue to talk about this because, like, it.
Christopher, let's get him on.
Yes, and also I can't wait to meet all of your husbands, sibling husbands
Do you know what I'm trying to think? I think I only have two.
so
I have a
far.
ton of wives, Venus and the 11. I know so far the day is young. You might be going to the city today, who knows? And they're cardinal signs, Capricorn and Aries. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Rick Levine is my Aries husband. He's
Huh.
unfortunately very straight. Christopher is gay, married to an Aquarius, but I do call him my Capricorn husband. I love him. I love Christopher.
And you have your
So
lesbian husband.
oh my God. She's my number one. Okay. She is my bad bitch. I know. So you're right. I have a lot of husbands. It's true.
Mhm. Which is good. It takes a lot to prop up a Gemini because the Gemini has a lot of interest and connections. They
You
need.
bitches are a handful.
I mean, you just gotta like keep the interest. Brandy Carlisle, one of my faves, is a Gemini
Oh.
sun, Gemini moon. We still don't know her rising sign because her shit's not on the internet yet. But Brandy, please give me your time of
Yeah,
birth.
Brandy.
Um,
Yeah.
I suspect Brandy is a Virgo rising or Gemini rising. So she's either a triple Gemini or with a Virgo rising. Because I think her Mercury in Cancer, like when you watch her like produce, like that Cancer energy comes flowing out of her. So anyway, so I think that's her chart ruler. Anyway, it's my prediction. But all that to say, she says she like hates being alone and she just needs to be very stimulated by relationship and connection. And I think that's just the classic beautiful Gemini, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Just yeah, talking. Yeah, I've loved living with my family. I stay on my mother's fucking couch in her living room, so I have like no privacy.
Wait,
You
you're
know.
still on her couch? I thought you were in a bedroom at your grandma's house.
So my twin sister moved back to Long Island with her family,
Uh-huh.
and my mother retired early, moved up here as well. My father is still in North Carolina. That's where they used to live.
Okay.
So all this to say, I live in a multi-generational household with my mother, my niece, my nephew, my grandmother, my twin sister, her husband. So I love it. I love it. And also, yeah, I'm like, oh, the more I'm with people, the less I work. I got to figure out this balance.
Well,
Because I do not live alone. I literally just sleep in a living room and I have hardly any space to like get work done, but that's okay because I want to see my niece and nephew. So I love it.
yeah, and there's no better way I think to be around little ones than just being in their environment, like letting them wake you up by crawling on you, like
God.
it's fleeting
I
time.
yes, and I think like I wish I could talk to a queer person whose twin had children
Mm.
because it's so rare and special and sacred because they are my children. Those are my babies because they're my twin sisters' babies. And
Yeah.
yeah, just spending all that time with them has just been such a blessing. Mars and Cancer. Ooh, but I love him.
Was the her youngest was born like on your birthday?
45 minutes before. He said, I'm not coming on May 24th. No fucking way. All right, I'm gonna be early because I want my own day because I'm my own person. Poor, yeah, and he was named after my brother-in-law's Gemini grandfather, so he has so much of other people, which is a beautiful thing. I think that's why he just has this like really alternative mystical energy. but also I think he needed his own birthday. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. And your Virgo niece, everybody is Mercury ruled in your house. I can't imagine there's a moment of quiet.
There isn't, much to my Taurus brother-in-law's contempt. He's like, shut the fuck up, all of you. And then like my twin sister's husband is American with more Irish heritage. And I do find like they know how to talk, but it's a little bit less than the Mediterranean high volume energy all day fucking long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's just like, get me out of this fucking house. No, he loves it.
As someone with like all Irish heritage, it is a lot of like high volume and then passing out.
Yes. And like preferably on a Saturday night, like
Mhm.
once a week.
Yeah.
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 Whereas in the Italian households, it's a steadily high volume sun up to sundown
Uh-huh.
and then like passing out after dinner 10:30 at night.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, can we do this shit earlier? This is crazy.
And then on the holidays, everything rumbles and tables collapse under the weight of the food.
And fighting. Yes. It's just, oh my God, we're so fucking argumentative. It's so bad. I gotta work on that. I gotta work on that. Woo! But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I feel like, yeah, the more I connect to that energy, the more I like want to putz around and experiment on astrology. It's all connected, Cancer Cat.
It
Yeah.
is. It all connected. Colin, I love you. Thank
I
you
love
for
you,
your
Devin.
time and your talent and all of your ideas, and just getting to be with you is such a treat. And
Yes.
I love that our friendship continues to be
Yes, baby.
recorded and available for people to just explore and witness and experience.
Oh, Bevan, no, thank you. You are extending the best of your time, talent, and treasure, your kindness, your curiosity, your astute observations around astrology. You know, when you were reflecting on some things that you noticed, it made me think of how there are certain friends of mine who just have this really intuitive gift around sensing, like when you're talking about Belinda Carlisle, I was like moved by this when you were saying like her Cancer energy comes through. The fact that you're able to observe other people who have very different astrological orientations than you and sort of map out what archetype you're seeing, like that's a skill set that shows humility and understanding, and then also like a connection to the mystical, to the timeless. Humans have been contemplating archetypal subjects for thousands of years, right? So the fact that you're like mining this wisdom and just saying it so queer, nonchalant, campy, yeah, her Cancer energy was coming through without any, or I should say without any, but maybe without the recognition of like to name that is a very advanced skill. Congratulations. I loved it.
Thank you. I feel like it's my Pisces South node. Like
Oh,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Just connected to the waters, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The waters of everything. Because Pisces, the coolest part about Pisces is it's everything, right? Like, so
Both ends,
yeah.
baby.
Yeah. And if you have this is my favorite advice for anyone with a heavy Pisces placement, figure out who you
Make
are.
out with me. No, I'm sorry. What? Go ahead.
Hang out with me. I did say kill Pisces. But it is
Don't
really
kill you. I'll kiss you. Go ahead.
might make out. It depends though. Like here's I'm not going to drag Pisces. I want to give him the key to life. You figure out who
Yes.
you are and what matters to you, and you can go back in time and listen to me and Colin talk about values, and that'll give you a framework. But like you figure out who you are and declare it, and of course sometimes it changes as it needs to a little bit. I just had to tweak a little bit of my self declaration that I make every day because I was recently made aware by spirit. I think this was my big like eclipse season divine experience was I was made aware that I'm a way shower. And that's one of my very important roles on earth is just to help people find their way, And like, so just recognizing who you are and declare it to yourself every day. Say it out loud, just like an affirmation, because like Pisces can be everything. And like in the desire for love and acceptance and belonging and all these things that like society steals from us, like declaring who you are keeps you from being a chameleon to everything else so that you
Ooh.
lose yourself, right? Because who you are is in there. Just because you can be everything doesn't mean you have to.
Hmm. And if you are everything, say it and then just tell people like deal with it.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You know, like that's beautifully expressed. Yes. And like owning your interior world means no one else can get in there and define it for you because you said it.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah, come on, Capricorn. Yeah, you know what? You, me, and Christopher should reunite the first week of December. Maybe we could do something for World AIDS Day.
Yes, I would love that. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, and just like I would die watching the two of you Capricorn interact with each other. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I think that would be beautiful for him to share his wisdom. I just want to make sure I pinged that. Okay.
Great.
Mhm.
We're gonna do it. I love it. It's a date.
Love it.
Love you so much, my friend.
Love you too.